It's the Coffee Pot Challenge. Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I'm pulling out 3 items from the tin to see what we will be crafting with today. These are items that I have within my stash that I know that I either don't use very often or just they're combinations of things that could work well together. But we'll see what we get today. Digital kit. Decorative paper, ink. Digital kit. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to work with digital kit, ink and decorative papers. And I'm going to put some things down in the journal. So what I'm going to do is just move that. This is the page that I'm really not keen on. It's because on the other side, I love that. That's very beautiful. That was a plants and leaves and things from the garden with a sprayed effect on the top of it, and you can see it really has created some relief patterns there of the leaves that were put down. So it's nature's stencil, so I really enjoyed doing that. But I did put some ink splatters there and they have come through on the page, not so much on this side because I think that paper's thick, but this is a thin paper here and it has bled through. But decorative paper is something that it could be scrapbooking paper, it could be something that's come off of some marketing. So this is very beautiful. I saw this, it came off of a seed catalogue, which I thought was perfect. So what I want to do is definitely either cut elements of that out or just use that in a really fun way. It's got the white background, so we'd have to sort of maybe work around that. And this is some tissue paper, and that's got the botanical ferns and things, so that is going to be utterly perfect for putting down there. So I think without further ado, I should just do that while I'm thinking of what else. I'm just focusing now on sticking down the tissue paper. Okay. All right, I'm just going to go with it because I can put something along the bottom. And this, I have seen this, if anybody's in the UK at the moment, this was from Sainsbury's. I saw that in their gift wrap section. So this is a really fun way to decorate your papers if you've got a page that's a little bit dull or there's something on it, or even if there's a mark or a rip, a slight tear to the papers. They can't always be perfect if they're junk papers to begin with. So this is it's just a nice way to cover that. And now we've got an interesting decorative background, and the pink brings in something a little bit, well, it's more modern, isn't it? But I think we can allow that. So some of our avocado dyed papers would work with that background because it's in the same tone. So I'm going to just leave that in there as an idea. I've also got this, which I did with the crunching technique that you saw the other day. This was an envelope, so there's that. So we might like that. This is a bit truly scrumptious, isn't it? I like the pink, that's nice. I'm just going to use more pink, one of our paper clips that we made earlier on in another, I think it could have even been a coffee pot challenge, I don't know. So we're looking for digital kits. Well, I have got a few bits here. So let's just see what I've been pulling in. Got to do something about this front cover. Got to do lots of things, really. I keep saying it, and then we go and find something else to do. That's called procrastination. And I'm very good at that. But only because I often need the ideas to form. I need time for them to form. And then when I'm good to go, I'm good to go. This is an old digital kit for me. I have bought this some time ago, and it could be Vector, it could be Victoria Designs, it could be My Porch Prints. I'm not sure. What I do know is it does go on about rhododendrons, and I would say that says China azaleas, and all the things that we've been talking about in this journal. So this is the French Linen Botanical Journal. It's focusing very much on a path I took when I was looking into the local area for a village on the Wirral outside of Liverpool in Britain, and it has come from reading vintage letters by a lady called Vintage Letters sent to a lady called Betty Fosbury, and she lived in a place called Neston. And Neston is a few fields away from the little hamlet, little area of Nest. And this is where this huge botanical garden was sited and still exists today. And so in this journal I've been looking and discovering, and I ended up buying the book about Arthur Bully and the Great Plant Hunters, and that is because I have been so enthralled by where my journaling has taken me. I haven't really planned it. It's just sort of happened. The journals make themselves. I went to the fabric basket that I have in my craft room, and I just picked out some fabrics that I felt were the ones that I wanted, muted tones and things like that. It was linen, there was some French elements to it. I then went and looked in my paper bin, and I found an old photo flew out and didn't even know I had it. And so that was this one here. And this is set in France. And it's just a beautiful sort of the architecture there and the old fashion. I don't know if you can catch it. We're again late at night crafting, so the lighting's a bit poor, but just the images there. You know, maybe in the 1900s, early 1900s anyway. And this whole idea started to just come together anyway. And then I was looking into it all about how Arthur Bully and his wife Harriet were cotton merchants, and they were socialists, and they were out all there for the people, wanting to do as much as they cared, but they had entitlement. They had this cotton industry which they had been left and given by Arthur Bully's father, and so they're left with this cotton industry along with his brothers, and they're running it and there's money coming in. But what Arthur really wants to do is create these botanical gardens. He has a huge connection with Kew Gardens where he sends seeds and things he finds. Harriet and Arthur work together for 10 years before they embark on a family, and they were very, very pioneering people. And what I wanted to just show you, because we're looking at the architecture there, this is the house that they ended up building. And they didn't build it as in any particular fancy way that would be right for their stature in that time, and which was 1898. It was built to last. It was built on a really solid foundation with very special bricks, and it had a really intricate heating system in there. And what was most poignant about the house that they built is that they did have people to work for them, and they were very fair employers because everybody had to work in the gardens just as much as running the house. And what they did was, instead of having an upstairs downstairs sort of a setup where you would have people that work for them living downstairs, they all lived on the same level as the Bully family, and everybody had a window facing out to the garden. That was their passion. They wanted everybody to enjoy the flowers, the botanics, the gardens, and everybody was equal, and they all had well-paid jobs. So it was a wonderful family and a really great job. And you had these lovely rooms that you would stay in if you worked for the Bullies, and obviously were very much part of the family. I'm thinking that that's quite nice to have these offset as little pockets. And the other thing is, I'm going to bring that in because I think he did develop his own lawnmower. I was reading that, but I won't find it now. There he is. Where's that? So is this amazing plant collector. This is later in life when he's a lot older and he's made his money and everything. He's reading the Manchester Guardian in his drawing room at Ness in his fabulous house. He's warming his feet by the fire, but everybody could warm their feet by a fire apparently. He had provided for everybody in that house. There was nobody that wasn't equal. Here it is. The lawnmower. So let's just have a quick look. Well, it's not far off, is it? It's not far off, so I think I'll have that because the Bees Limited, Arthur Bully they did develop a lawnmower. Okay, so I'll just cut these out and see if I want to have them as the little tucks that have been suggested here. So just because we've got that, we don't have to have it. In fact, I think I'll probably just cut that off and use the image. I don't need that many tucks and pockets. What was the other thing? Ink. Okay. Right, ink. All right, so this is, if I've got any in there, running a bit low. I have a little shot of water on everything. I haven't re-inked these in about 3 years, so I think we are probably looking for a re-inker. What I need to do is just need to store them upside down so the ink starts to come further round. Okay, so we've got the ink and we've got the water. I'm just going to use the dauber. I'm just going to use the ink blending tool here, and let's just get another spare piece of paper and just go over the whole thing. Just get the ruler. Tear that down. I think with a different colour, I've got walnut stain here. I'll just capture those edges in, and a nice way of doing that is to just go round in a circular motion on another piece of paper, and then it just picks it all up. But wetting the ink dauber is quite nice because it just activates the ink. So I've got 2 different browns working together, and then I can go over areas where I just think I want to age a bit more. And this being a blending tool will allow me to blend the 2 inks together a bit. Alright, let's see how we like this. And I'm just thinking I'd like to cut a slit which will create a pocket. So I'm thinking if I just roughly put this on this straight line here so that we've got a guide of a straight line, and then I will put my ruler on another line up here. I think we'll do it on this one, and I think I'll just have it all the way to there, slit there above it. So we've got 2, and I think this is an interesting idea, so I'm just going to go with it. Use my ruler here and tear that bit away. And down that goes. There we are. And then anything peeling up. It's quite nice to have that peeling up. It's quite well inked on the other side. I might just leave that for now, see how I get on, see how I like it. And from here, you know, we could, yeah, things are going to tuck in and go all the way down, so that's nice. So that's good for tickets and tags. Yep, so Arthur and his wife wanted everybody to experience this garden. It didn't matter if you were a visitor or somebody who worked there. They just wanted everybody to experience the pleasure. They were very kind people, and they didn't want anyone to feel left out. They were real down-to-earth types. Now, Arthur had a lot of money. He didn't like the fact that he had a lot of money, and he certainly didn't lord it around the place, if that makes sense. He didn't buy flashy things. He bought heating for the house so that everybody in the house could benefit from it, not just the family that lived there. They all had this similar experience. When he went up to a special meeting place for businessmen to meet, they would all go to a special restaurant, and that's where business deals were done. And Arthur would have to go because it was just the business world, and that's where people met and where meetings happened. So he would go to this restaurant, and they would all be ordering the fanciest foods and the fine wines and drinking and dining. And he was renowned. They went, "Oh, Mr. Bully," and they knew what his special meal was. He would always have a cheese sandwich. And that is what he would do. He just went up for these incredible business meetings, and everybody thought, gosh, you know, this man's got some money here. And instead of ordering these fancy foods, he would just have a standard cheese sandwich. There were two things he would have had: a glass of water and a cheese sandwich. And they knew he was coming, and they would get it all ready for him. And I'll just rip a bit down here. I like this bit because it's talking about water lilies, and we've had a bit of a theme of that all the way through. So, see, now that can overlap that straight edge. So what I'm up to is I've put that down and it's a square, okay? And then that's the straight edge that I'm really wanting to now cover up. So we then want an edge that's uneven, and that instantly looks nicer than trying to stick something like that next to it, because if you don't stick it perfectly, you've got this gap, and if you do stick it perfectly, it just shows the difference in the patterns in a harsh way. And yes, I have got it upside down. But even on the person that's put this together, you'll see that they've got their line coming down, and then they've overlapped the joins. So those two go down, but it is intersected at the bottom by this other one, which is fine. It draws your eye down and then into this overlap piece. So that's sort of a rule of collage. And if you can get straight edge versus raggedy edge, you're really going to be taking that somewhere a little bit more interesting. And then you've got the ability to put something like that on a wonky angle. So if you've got your lined up pieces square, by putting a wonky piece on top of all those intersecting lines, you create that as the focal point, and that goes to the back. something about, it's a bit of an optical illusion, but it's sort of pleasing. So that is quite pleasing to have that there. And what I would do is a rounded shape where all these places are meeting. I would put a round flower there, and that would tie all those images together. In theory, if I've got a round thing then looks interesting on top of all the intersecting bits behind it. Or even, doesn't have to be round, but just a jaunty angled square would bring all of those lines coming in, giving it a focal point. So we could use that on that side, and we could do that and have the bird, but I don't like that. I'd have to rip that away. Right, so that's an idea. I hope everybody's okay. We're having a bit of a quiet one in England at the moment. We are settling into quiet crafts, reflecting, and it's the change of the seasons as well, and we are all change, everybody. Change is coming. Nothing to worry about. But it's just that time where, you know, one era is ending and another one is going to be taking place. And that's what happened in the time frame in which I'm journaling about, which was the late 1800s and then 1801 when Queen Victoria passed away. And we ended up having the new king taking over. Well, the new king was very much in favour of nature and would also, he ended up subscribing to having some of these seeds from Mount Everest brought back from one of these expeditions that the plant hunters would go on. And it just so happened that Arthur Bully was funding a lot of these things. And the king, the new king, wanted some seeds for his own personal collection in Buckingham Palace and all where they were living. So the seeds were collected for the King of England, all on as part of the expedition that Arthur Bully was funding. So that was King George. And that is the same king that had Queen Mary and named the ship the Queen Mary. So we've got some bits there. So all of this is set early days of the new king, the Edwardian times, and botanics were hugely popular. It was fashionable. That's what it was. It was very, very fashionable. There was money to be made if you could bring seeds over and have them made available to people that wanted to collect the plants. Plant collecting, hugely, hugely fashionable pastime. The idea of bringing plants to the everyday people was new because Arthur wanted to make them affordable. Well, that was a bit unheard of because these seeds were coming from very far away places and the whole thing was costing a fortune to get them to come over. Okay, I'm just going to fix this onto this background piece here. So I can still use that as a tuck, and then I think I'll stick that down. So now I can stick this whole lot down. Put that inside this slightly wonky envelope. It's quite nice as it's curving round to have that there. And then when Arthur Bully and his wife did have their first child, that was a daughter, and her name was Lois Agnes Bully, and she grew up and inherited the gardens. And what she wanted to do was continue what her parents had wanted, which was to make the gardens available for everybody. And so she bequeathed the whole lot to the University of Liverpool. And what she did as well was give them £75,000 in available funds to help and support the gardens, because over everything, what she absolutely wanted was to make sure that the gardens were looked after and preserved and used for the way in which her father had intended, and her mother, and that was to be a research place, a preserving special species, and just a high interest for botanists and the everyday person alike. So they were to be enjoyed by biologists and botanists, scientists, and anybody looking to better their education within that area, and also to bring delight to the masses. So she bequeathed the whole lot plus this money, and she just gave her money away. And really, that's what her father had done. They liked to make their own. They didn't like the fact that they had any kind of entitlement, and they wanted to pass it on. So not only did the university benefit from this wonderful gift, she then went and awarded a huge sum of money out in Africa to the farmers and growers and the villages and the surrounding areas of where the cotton industry had taken place. And because profits had come from that country, the daughter was very keen to make sure that the wealth went back into the economy, and also for the betterment of the village and the town, and so schools were opened. So that just goes to show what a wonderful family they were, and that wonderful ethos. And it wasn't a story of white privilege. It was a story of giving back. And yes, he was a real interesting, kind person, and very much led by his wife. And I think that the story started here with in my mind, behind every great man there is a wonderful woman. And this sort of resonated with me when I heard that the daughter had bequeathed all of her inheritance to this wonderful causes, and it just struck me as, well, what a wonderful role model her parents must have been for her to have been able to do that. And what, selfless act to honour what must have been something much bigger than them. And I just find that inspiring, that somebody is able to then want to bequeath their funds and support education and schools and female rights and things like that. It's absolutely fabulous. So I've been really intrigued by this story. It really has captured my imagination, and I've been pleased to bring you along for the ride on some of it, because it does affect us all. It's lovely, really nice to hear where some of these plants originated from, and how he was very keen to have all these expeditions and going to places like the Andes and the Rocky Mountains, and he travelled over to New Zealand to in search of a special flower, and wanted to see it for himself. And when he retired from his cotton industry, he was of course free to come and come on some of these expeditions. And how exciting was that? Maybe he just couldn't do that before because he was tied in, duty bound, to this cotton business, which he wasn't really interested in. It wasn't his passion. And finally he's allowed to get away, and he and his daughter go on this wonderful trip to Australia and New Zealand in search of azaleas and rhododendron special flowers, and they saw them in situ. They saw them in the country of origin and helped build some wonderful ties for some real botanical finds. And today, even now, they are, because they have the largest collection and they have preserved them so well, there's now been opportunity to reintroduce plants that have become extinct in the areas in which they were found, purely because of climate change or of reasons outside of anyone's control, because the original collection has been so lovingly preserved and looked after in these botanical gardens in Ness on the Wirral in Liverpool. That work, and that now continued by the university, has shone through, and they are able to reintroduce plants that otherwise we'd never see again. Lovely, wonderful, calming, natural story of nurturing and, not taking for granted. I'm just adding in some texture with some fluffy elements, and I've got this washi tape sticker here of a rose, and I've got this journaling card from my digital kit, which you can get. The mini kit is on my Ko-fi shop page, which is linked below, and there's some freebies and some donation style digikits that you can download for free, or a small donation would be absolutely amazing. You can buy me a cup of tea because I'm absolutely parched. I've drunk everything. I'm really thirsty today. I'm just getting this down so that this can become a pocket along here. And then that's a pocket behind for something else. So I've got this tear here, but I have been sent the most fantastic snippet roll from Shirley. Thank you, Shirley. If you're watching, I really mean that. Thank you. There's been some wonderful things that you've let me have, and this is one of them. So this is a really sweet little pocket from Shirley. I think she's used some napkin over paper that has got a really nice yellowy toned tea or coffee stain to it, and then we've got napkin over the top of that, and then she's put it over the top of some interesting recycled paper. So lots of different textures there, very subtle but lots of different textures. She's then sewn round the flap to make the envelope, and it's book page inside, and it's nice and thin. It's not too chunky. It's just a few sheets of paper that are sewn together. What I really like is that she's added this ribbon here of the tape measure, number there, and yeah, botanical images, but in a really lovely sandy colour. So I'm thinking I'm going to repair that by just sticking this down and creating a pocket again here. So I'm just going to do what I've done before on the other page, and I'm going to put put that in. So sometimes journals come together with a little help from our friends, and on this occasion I am using things that have been sent to me that have inspired me. So I'm going to use that, and not only that, she's put down, I think, Shirley, you might have solved the conundrum on the other page. So we're just going to have a look at that. The one that was peeping through. I've got a little idea now. So that envelope's going there because it's just perfect. And then you've given me a little card with what I think is a nasturtium flower, which we can have in there. They're edible. And then the explorers with the binoculars and the map. So that's another little journaling card which can go in there, maybe go in there for the time being, or perhaps we want to see the binoculars like that. And so there's a little find in there for now, and we can see what else we've got. So that's getting interesting. We've got to do something on the other side of this. I've got this, I don't know where that came from. So we could have something in there. I'll keep that in there for now. And what else was I going to say? Oh, this page that has been causing me jip. This one. So let me show you Shirley's beautiful snippet rolls. So when I showed snippet rolls as part of this series, these are the beautiful snippet rolls that Shirley has come back and sent to me. And I'll put, this one is so beautiful, I will come back to that one. So we said paper and fabric, or fabric. And they're really hard to photograph snippet rolls, so it's just better as a film. So we've just got these lovely images here, and she's used some really interesting yarn behind with a silver tone, so it makes it shimmer, and I really like that. And I love this one. He just reminds me of one of these explorers, and the girl there could be the daughter. And I just think from a symbolic part of journaling, I think that you may have solved the problem here. And I'm wondering if it isn't butterflies, it isn't flowers, it isn't something blue, it isn't something yellow, but it is actually people. And what do we think of this? Because they would just peep through like the family tree. And I'm quite loving that idea. So I think, and then it's also functional, another tuck. So I think Shirley and her snippet roll may have just solved a little problem for me, because I just couldn't see it, but now I can, and I really like that. I really like that. That's going there, Shirley. Thank you so much. Now, can I rip it? I can rip it to a certain extent. So this is the test. And I think we have to just snip through the threads, and then we just take what we want of it. Isn't that so perfect? And that's how a snippet roll works. So let's have a quick look. So Shirley has used her backing paper is wallpaper. You can see there, sort of been deconstructing it a bit. Book page. And then she's got some botanical images that have been cut out of a book. And then other digikits from the looks like strip running through, tying it all together, but seeds and hexagons, and just really capturing in pretty much all of the themes and ideas that I'm using here in this journal. So, I mean, we can't really argue with that, can we? That is absolutely fab. Thank you, Shirley. I think this is going to work out perfectly. And then I really want to see your fabric one as well. So there we go. That is really cool. And now we've got this real sort of mist of time effect peeping through. I like that. And then I want something over there, and I've got an idea for that, but that's a fussy cut, so I might do that off camera and show you. But now I've got this tuck idea. The other thing I found is these seeds from Kew Garden when I visited them. The packet there I just think is adorable with all of that. So I'm wondering if I could just tuck that in there. And you don't see it, so that's perfect. And here we are. So this is the page that we've come up with today. And that just shows off all that you can have. And if you want to add some extra bits, we've now got pocket space for tags and tucks and things, which is quite fun. Nice little journaling cards could live in there. And maybe the Charles Darwin card could live there. Somewhere to go. Okay, now this the other snippet roll I've been sent. Is absolutely stunning and really wonderful way of adding fabrics. So that's layered fabrics, nice and textured, lots of fray. Really have taken on some of the things that that I've been talking about here, with all the botanical images and the fluff and the fray, and a nice central stitch all down the middle just has tethered that all in together. And I just really am wanting a piece of this in the journal here because it just fits the theme so beautifully. I want it in here. Oh, maybe there. That's nice with the black. Oh, that echoes it. Oh, I think we're going to have that here. So this is from Shirley. I'm going to just stick that down. I don't think I need that to be a tuck. I just think that's absolutely wonderful. There's the writing space. And it's really nice to look at what others do. So if you do come across things that others have given you, or you get involved with other crafters doing similar things, just the ideas that come back is incredible, really. And I'm going to have a look at my other bits that people have given me, because I was sort of dedicating it to a swap journal where I've got swaps from people, but now just, you know, it's happening, it's current, people are sending you this stuff, and why not add it to the journal that you've got going on rather than making a dedicated special thing. I mean, this is my journal, so this is what we've got. Thinking I could have quite like that all overhanging, to be honest. That's absolutely stunning. Don't like it in there. Like it there. And Shirley has a lovely things that she has available, and she is on Instagram, and her name, I'll put it on the screen below as well. Shirley is I Want a Peacock on Instagram. So you can have a look at Shirley's work and all of the things that she does. And it's just, is that a peony? I think it is. I think it is, Shirley. It's amazing. Oh my goodness. I mean, you guys are so talented. And it's just so beautiful, these things. So I just love all of this. And that's just going to echo some of the bits that I've got. I'll take that one off and let that one come up not so long. And there, that is like that. So that's a tuck. That's a... just want that to overhang in a rather scrumptious way. Oh, just fabulous. And that really just works with those two colours and this botanical business going on. It's going to repair that bit there. That's better. So it is just coming together with some really lovely ideas of how you could play about with a snippet roll with it being fabric. So just put the fabrics on and throw them together and add a nice stitch all down the centre. So you can see how it's made. A decorative stitch. It's just captured all the bits and pieces together. Fray them about and just look at your colours. Make sure that you've got 2 or 3 that work together. Green and pink, absolute blackcurrant colours there. Really impressed with that. And then we've got this today. So it's all big and bold and colourful there. Really nice. But as we're learning, the Arthur and his wife were unconventional, and they liked functional things but beautiful things. And another thing that I've been sent by Shirley is this really sweet little flip down, and if we look at that, that is primroses, and that is our native primula for the UK, and they are protected, and so I think that that's quite nice to have that clipped in here, and then we can look at that and just that be a flip out for extra journaling if we want to. And I think I'm going to use this clip that I've made in a previous episode and add that there, and then that just gives that a little bit of extra up the top as well, and I might want to put something in there in the future. But those are my 2 pages today, a little bit different, but that was the coffee pot challenge of decorative papers, ink and digital kits, and it's all there. And that was a digital kit from Rach and Bella Crafts, which is a lovely little seed packet from their digital kit, and it's got something. Oh, how fun! I've put some stamps in there. Oh, that's nice. Find. And I've lined that with packaging paper. So that was from one of the digital kits from last year that Rach and Bella brought out, Botanical Dreams. So I love that. So that's all there. So there we are. That's the page, and you know, we can carry on with these things, and just some nice ideas and some gentle crafting together. And I hope you've had fun and value here, and above everything else, guys, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye bye now.